All right, let's start looking at the warm-ups for week 31. These will all be star-released questions, so these are the types of questions that you can expect to see when you take your test next month. So on Mondays, we're looking to organize these 4 values correctly into the graphic organizer. So I'm going to start by looking at the whole number section and all of my answer choices. And there's one that I can see already that there's a number in whole number where it's not supposed to be, and that's H. -2 is an integer, it's not a whole number, so I know that H cannot be my answer. Next, I'm going to look at the integer category, and I'm going to look at F, G, and J, and I'm going to see if there's anything wrong with the integers. And I can see right away that on G, it's got a decimal, and integers don't have decimals, so G is not correct. When I look at J, I see 2 decimal answers. Those are definitely not correct, so the correct answer will be F. All right, let's look at Tuesday. It says the shaded area on the grid represents the part of a rectangular wall that was painted. Each small square on the wall has the same dimensions. What percentage of the wall was painted? So we need to figure out what the percentage of shaded squares there are. You're going to start with counting the number of shaded squares. And if you count, you will see that there are 24 shaded squares. So you're going to want to write that as a fraction first. So 24 is the top number, your numerator. The bottom number, the denominator, is going to be the total of squares there are in the figure, and there are 40. So now I'm going to think about what the word percentage means. Percentage means out of 100. So I'm going to look at the relationship between 40 and 100. Will 40 divide into 100 evenly? And the answer is no. So my next step is to try and simplify this fraction, 24 over 40. And I know that I can simplify it by dividing both numbers in half by 2. So I'm going to get 12 over 20. So now I'm looking at the relationship between 20 and 100. And I know that 20 is a factor. If I multiply that by 5, I'll get 100. So I'm going to do the same thing to my numerator, to 12. 12 times 5 is 60. 60 over 100 is 60%. So when I look at my answer choices, I can see that 60% is choice C. Moving on to our next problem. A baby weighed 7.25 pounds at birth. At the end of 8 months, the baby weighed 2.5 times its birth weight. How many pounds did the baby weigh at the end of 8 months? So we need to figure out what operation this is: addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. It's multiplication. So you have a multiplication problem. 7.25 times 2.5. Looking at my answer choices, they're all in decimal form. So in order to multiply, I'm going to change my fraction of 2.5 to a decimal. So hopefully by now you're familiar with half. Half is the same as 2.5. So I'm going to multiply 7.25 times 2.5. For right now, don't worry about the decimals. They do not need to be lined up. We're going to multiply and put the decimal in where it goes when we get our answer. 5 times 5 is 25. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 1 is 36. Put your 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 7 is 14. Now you're going to add your two rows together. 18125. Now I've got to figure out where the decimal goes. So remember, when you're multiplying with decimals, it's all about counting the decimal places. So I have 2 decimal places here, and I have 1 here for a total of 3. So that means my answer has to have 3 decimal places. 18.125. That is answer H. Last warm-up problem. A teacher wrote this expression on the board. What is the value of this expression? So it's an order of operations problem. So we're always going to start with what's inside the parentheses, and we're going to rewrite the rest of the problem. So -6 and 2 together just indicate its multiplication. In the parentheses here, I have -8 divided by 4. I know my answer is going to be negative, and 4 will go into 8 twice, so that's a -2. My next step is to multiply -6 times 2, which is -12, and then I'm going to rewrite the rest of the problem. So I have -12 added to -2. My signs are the same, so I'm going to add my numbers together and keep the sign to get -14.